Today we'll be talking about a time when Europeans were attempting to cross the Arctic Sea above Russia to get to China. This theoretical route was known as the Northeast Passage. Let's start out with some history, and to start the history, let's set the stage. It's the early 1600s, and Europe has been doing the Age of Discovery thing for about 200 years. Generally, the European powers are looking to tick a few more things off their bucket list so that they can confidently go from their current, let's say, level 1 global suffering apparatus into the full-on input misery, output profit engine of the 18th and 19th centuries. A big topic on that remaining agenda was to figure out a way to get to China that didn't suck. Current options included Option A, the age-old Silk Road passing through recently rebranded Istanbul. However, eligible parties included all those who were not Europeans and definitely not Venice. Or Option B, the Cape Route, which involved jumping down to Africa, sailing across the coast near the Western Sahara, which looks like this, catching the winds out to sea, landing maybe around the Skeleton Coast, which looks like this, passing by the recently rebranded Cape of Good Hope, hitting up the east coast of Africa, passing by the west coast of India, jumping over to modern-day Indonesia, and then finally reaching China. Oh, should have mentioned this first, you have to be Portugal because they owned everything on every step of the way. So the countries that found themselves simultaneously being European, but not Portugal, decided to solve the problem by trying to find a northern route to China. Unfortunately, maps at the time tended to be suspiciously hand-wavy when it came to what was at the top of the globe. Generally, the popular maps at the time included an unexplained ring of land, usually featuring some scribbled Latin, presumably magic cartography spells. For explorers heading north, the best they had to go on was that the world probably didn't end, and there were probably not monstrous ice dragons waiting for them. Europe was mostly over the sea monster thing by then. The first option was to go northeast. This meant attempting to cross the Arctic Sea over Siberia, a landmass whose size nobody really understood. Land-based explorers for the Russian Empire had only reached about halfway to the Pacific in the 1600s. But how much more could there be? Traders within the Russian Empire had been able to get goods moving with a combination of mostly coastal routes with some land-based segments. They reached all the way to the Gulf of Ob, which, despite the name, is a real place and not underdeveloped fantasy location for mildly developed children. There was even a port established near the end of this route named Mangasia. However, with the famous Russian soft touch, trade on this route was eventually deemed illegal and punishable by death. Uninterested in dealing with the antics of the Russian Empire, the Western Europeans, in the meantime, were seeking a route across the Arctic that didn't involve any land-based components. This set them sailing into the frozen nothingness beyond Norway. Unfortunately, they didn't find very much and were unable to get very far, quickly getting blocked by endless sea ice. The Northeast Passage didn't seem to be a thing. However, the Europeans did discover a great deal of whales and the Isle of Svalbard. In the coming years, European nations would set out to murder all the whales and turn them into consumer goods. In later centuries, though, after making the shocking transition from murderous nightmare lords to utopia-building bureaucrats, they'd help build a seed vault here, which will come in handy if the current murderous nightmare lords break everything. In a future video, we'll explore the other options the Europeans attempted to navigate the Northwest Passage. After that, we'll jump into modern times to see how these two passages are increasingly used in the modern world, and potential problems that could cause. Thanks for watching. This is the first video for this channel, so consider liking and or subscribing if you enjoyed it. Also, if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. Bye for now.